Kava is moving swiftly to expand COVID-19 vaccine distribution to protect our community and move our economy forward. Vaccine supplies are currently extremely limited, and as the state provides more vaccines to the county, we are working hard to distribute them as fast as possible. Register for vaccine updates and get more information at miamidade.gov/vaccine. Get vaccinated, Miami-Dade County. It's our best shot for a strong, healthy community. Miami-Dade County, under the leadership of Mayor Danielle.
And welcome in WDNA 88.9 FM, the Frost Jazz Hour, here on this fine first Thursday of October. We are moving forward with the semester at Frost quite nicely. I'm your host, Philip Capuzzi, pleased as always to be joining you here on this fine Thursday morning. Every Thursday from 11 a.m. until 12 noon, we bring in some of the premier ensembles from Frost, as well as some new situations made by different faculty and students that are not officially affiliated with the school. But here this morning, we have one of the long-standing ensembles at Frost gracing the Jazz Gallery live and direct, the Art Blakey Ensemble. Really looking forward to this performance. We have Janelle Finton on trumpet, Austin Muthiala on trumpet as well, Dylan McCann on tenor saxophone, Donald DeStefano on piano, Nolan Slate on alto saxophone, Aidan McCarthy on bass, and a good friend of mine, Chandler Bogomolny, on drums, rounding out the ensemble under the direction of the ubiquitous Brian Lynch, who I'll have the great honor to speak with a little bit later in the program. But for the current moment, I think we're just going to start with the music. So coming up first, a Walter Davis Jr. composition entitled Uranus. Art Blakey Ensemble live and direct here on the Frost Jazz Hour, WDNA 88.9 FM. That's Nolan Slate on alto saxophone, joined by Janelle Finton and Austin Muthiala on trumpet, alongside Dylan McCann on tenor saxophone, Donald DiStefano on piano, Aidan McCarthy on upright bass, and Chandler Bogomolny rounding out the ensemble under the direction of Brian Lynch. Really excited to be putting on this program here this morning. I also want to thank everyone that donated to the station during our fall membership drive. We had a very successful drive. If you were unable to donate during the time of the drive, we still are accepting donations at this time. You can visit wdna.org, support live programs like this, the FIU Music Hour, also starting up a new program live at MoCA here at WDNA. So a lot of exciting things in the works, but we are, as always, in need of listener support to maintain our programming so that we can continue bringing it to you on a 24/7 basis. So now as we move forward with this program, first, actually, I want to mention as well, coming up next Tuesday on the 12th at 7:30 in Maurice Gusman Hall, Cecile McLaurin-Solvant will be coming down to Miami to perform alongside Sullivan Fortner, our guest pianist, alongside Kate Reed. She'll be directing a really exciting program honoring the music and life of Antonio Carlos Jobim, of course, one of the most important figures in bringing over bossa nova tradition over to the United States back in the late 50s and early 60s. So really looking forward to that program. Once again, that's October 12th, this upcoming Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. In the Maurice Gusman Hall. And you can visit frostmusiclive.com to get your tickets right now. That's frostmusiclive.com. And with that, we're going to step back to the music here. You're listening to the Art Blakey Ensemble, live and direct on the Frost Jazz Hour, WDNA 88.9 FM. You are listening to the Art Blakey Ensemble live and direct here on the Frost Jazz Hour, WDNA 88.9 FM, or perhaps you're listening on WDNA.org. Either way, very appreciative for your support. Every Thursday from 11 a.m. until 12 noon, you bring in some of the premier ensembles at Frost, as well as some individuals who have a connection with Frost. They bring in some of their ensembles. Really exciting program here. I'm your host, Philip Capuzzi. Pleased, as always, to be joining you. And a very special morning here today, as we have someone that I look up to so much. I've played quite a lot of his music on the air here at WDNA. Brian Lynch, thanks so much for being with us here this morning. It's a great pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a really exciting ensemble.
It is. I mean, this is always, special for me to coach this ensemble and coach this music because, of course, I was a part of Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, and still to this day maintain relationships with a lot of people that have played in the Messengers in various groups and things. Just came from a tribute gig, Art Blakey gig in Northampton, Massachusetts last Saturday, for instance, with Bobby Watson, some of whose music you'll be hearing in a little while, Robin Eubanks, Bill Pierce. So the fraternity of the Messengers is still thriving today, though there's not a lot of us left, but there's still a good deal of us left. So this music has a lot to offer in terms of, I think, grounding young musicians in the classic style of this music, and and it's a real, which makes it a real enabler in terms of bringing that sensibility into their own music. And just as my own music as a leader was very much influenced by my experiences in both Art Blakey's group and in Horace Silver's quintet, which I also played in, I'm hoping that these students' experiences in this ensemble will help them in the same way.
Absolutely, yeah. And you kind of mentioned what I wanted to talk to you about. There's a lot of ensembles across the world that focus on Art Blakey, but I'm not sure how many of them can boast a director that actually played with the Messengers, of course, like you mentioned, you having played with one of the last iterations of the group. And you kind of touched on my question, which was going to be how that translated into leading this ensemble. But I guess to jump to a little bit of a step beyond that, when leading this ensemble, are there any specific concepts or tunes that you like to work on every year, or how does that work out?
Well, the classic repertoire, I think, is key. I mean, things like Blues March, which we'll be playing next, and Along Came Betty, Moanin', things like that, that we associate with Art's group. I'm a big fan of Walter Davis Jr.'s music, so playing tunes like Uranus that you heard first, and also there's other tunes of his that I like to introduce to the band. There's so much music. I mean, also, I feel like that some of the music that was played in latter eras of the Messengers, and some of the music of Terrence Blanchard or Donald Harrison or Mulgrew Miller in the early to mid 1980s, and the music of people like Jeff Keezer and myself from the last band in 1989 and 1990, can be both looked at. There's Donald Brown's music is very important to me, the pianist Donald Brown, and we'll be looking at some of that music, I think, next up in rehearsal. There's, the difference between a lot of Art's band and a lot of bands is that he wasn't a composer himself, so it was a real workshop for composers to hear their music interpreted the way that it was supposed to be. Art said himself that you won't even recognize your own music yourself after he got through with it. He was the master orchestrator of the music, and also writing music for somebody with such a strong and definite rhythmic concept and a concept of, you could say, orchestration through the drums, I think is something that really, you know, it's like fulfilling a very creative and fertile constraint to write music that Art Blakey would want to play.
Hmm.
You know, so yeah, I mean, Wayne Shorter's music, of course, the music of the great music of Benny Golson, but there are so many eras of the band and Freddie Hubbard's music. It goes on and on.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks so much for sharing all that. You're listening to WDNA 88.9 FM, the Frost Jazz Hour. For any of you guys just joining us, we have the Art Blakey Ensemble live and direct in the Jazz Gallery here this fine morning under the direction of Brian Lynch, who he himself played with the Messengers in the late 80s. So a great honor and pleasure to have them with us here this morning. We're going to step away briefly for some messages from the station and come back to the Jazz Gallery with some live music in just a few moments. Welcome back to Frost Jazz Hour, WDNA 88.9 FM. I'm your host, Philip Capuzzi. We have the Art Blakey Ensemble live and direct here in the Jazz Gallery this morning under the direction of Brian Lynch. We have Nolan Slate on alto saxophone, joined by Janelle Finton and Asta Muthiala on trumpet, Dylan McCann on tenor saxophone, Donald DeStefano on piano, Aidan McCarthy on upright bass, and Chandler Bogomolny rounding out the rhythm section on drums. And I think we're just going to move right forward with the music. But first, I want to mention one more time, coming up next Tuesday, October 12th at 7:30 p.m., Cecile McLaurin-Salvant will be gracing Maurice Gusman Hall, so be sure to get your tickets at frostmusiclive.com. She'll be joining the great pianist Sullivan Fortner under the direction of Kate Reed, someone near and dear to the Frost family. One more time, that's this upcoming Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. in the Maurice Gusman Hall. Cecile McLaurin-Salvant will be honoring the music and legacy of Antonio Carlos Jobim. So you can go to frostmusiclive.com and get your tickets today. And with that, we're going to move forward with the Art Blakey Ensemble and the tune Blues March. Blues March here, live and direct on WDNA 88.9 FM, the Frost Jazz Hour, as performed by the Art Blakey Ensemble, coming from the Frost School of Music under the direction of Brian Lynch. We have Nolan Slate on alto saxophone, joined by Janelle Finton and Austin Muthiala on trumpet, Dylan McCann on tenor saxophone, and the rhythm section, Donald DeStefano on piano, Aidan McCarthy on upright bass, and Chandler Bogomolny on drums, rounding out the ensemble. And I also wanted to let you listeners or viewers know, if you're checking out the live stream on livestream.com or youtube.com, that next week we're going to have Shelley Berg coming into the Jazz Gallery, so a very exciting program. Always an honor when we welcome him into the Jazz Gallery. And then the week after that, the Daphnis Prieto Artist Ensemble will be here on October 21st. Daphnis Prieto, really an incredible composer and visionary, so very excited for that performance as well. But we still have some time here this morning for the rest of the program. Brian, I wanted to ask one question before we go to the last couple tunes. You were talking earlier about the fraternity and the camaraderie that exists within the community of people that are connected to Art Blakey and his music. So as that relates to leading an ensemble like this, what do you feel, is there a specific lesson or set of lessons that you feel are particularly important to impart on the students that come from the philosophy of Art Blakey, or what's your thoughts in that regard?
Well, I think it's just mainly by osmosis. I mean, when rehearsing this music and playing this music, you know, and then in my coaching, you know, definitely a lot of experiences kind of automatically channel themselves. So I share some of those experiences, you know, within coaching the tune and you know and also try to give a sense of how performance practice on certain compositions that we may know from the recordings evolved over time and things like that. But a lot of it is just kind of imparting some of the, you know, definitely anytime I deal with this music, whether it's teaching it or playing it or both at the same time, you know, it's like I get some of that feeling back, you know. So it really evokes an incredibly important time in my life and experience, very seminal experience, and you know, I think with nothing else, the enthusiasm that I have for this music maybe comes through. Hopefully helps.
Oh, it certainly does. Yeah, it certainly does. So for any listeners or viewers interested in listening to this ensemble, do they have any other performances coming up? And then also speaking on your own journey as an artist, do you have any records or things coming out that you want to mention?
We don't have anything set now, but we're going to try to get some more things happening because this group is outstanding, yeah. And I think that we've made everyone sounded great coming in, and we've made great strides. So we need to keep this thing going a little bit longer. So hopefully we'll concoct a couple other performances. For myself, I have a new record coming out October 15th. And be on the lookout for it. And I believe, hopefully, they will be playing it on this very radio station. It's called Songbook Volume 1 Bus Stop Serenade. And it's the first volume in a series of recordings on my own label, Holistic Music Works, where I'm re-recording all the original music of my own that I recorded for other labels during my career, which is kind of a long one. So I've got a lot of work to do to do that one. But this one it features Jim Snydero, the great Orrin Evans on piano, Boris Kozlov on bass, and Donald Edwards on drums. And we're going to be doing a couple of performances up north and to introduce this record at the Deerhead Inn in Delaware Water Gap, Pennsylvania, and also at Smalls in New York City. And I'm doing some recording while I'm up there too. So I have a new project that I'm working on that's funded by the Knight Foundation that I'll be doing the recording for while I'm up there at the end of this month. That's
Very
what's happening
exciting.
with me.
Very exciting. So is that the debut release from your label?
No, I'm celebrating my 10th year.
Wow, congratulations.
Of this label, and please check it out at Holistic Music Works, HOLLISTIC musicworks.com, and you can check out the catalog, not just my music, but other artists as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So for the listeners, mark your calendar. October 15th, got a new record coming out from Brian Lynch. You can be sure that
single dropping on October 11th.
Awesome. Yeah. So even sooner, and you can be sure that we'll be playing it here on WDNA 88.9. So Brian, thanks again so much for being here, sharing your time and some of your wisdom. And to mention the ensemble one more time, we have Nolan Slayton on alto saxophone, Janelle Finton and Austin Muthiola on trumpet, Dylan McCann on tenor saxophone, Donald DeStefano on bass, Aidan McCarthy on Donald DeStefano on piano, Aidan McCarthy on upright bass, and Chandler Bogomolny rounding out the ensemble on drums. I think we have time for one more tune. So Brian, what are they going to close out with?
What do y'all want to do? Curtis Fuller's Alamode. And I think we're going to get a little bit of the theme we'll segue right into this as we transition into the news.
Thank you.